I had shared an agenda with everybody. Did all of you receive that? This is the agenda only for the current session. We would talk about what different training topics we would cover. To start off, the training topics which we would cover would be purely business analysis and healthcare topics. And then we would discuss a little about a little theory about business analysis. Sometimes, even before we get into the practical working of business analysis, it is very important to understand what are available in the world. Once we know what is available in the world, how it is functioning, we will not have to reinvent the wheel. We will just go ahead with whatever is available and probably take up a few things from whatever is available and make a few amendments here and there to suit our requirements. And what we would try to emphasize in this project, in this meeting today, since it's the first meeting, would be on the perspective of a business analyst. Because each of us have come from a different background and each of us have a different perspective towards how the business functions or how a software has to be developed and why it has to be developed. But then there is another perspective which a person playing a business analyst role would have. So we would discuss about that perspective and why is it important for the organization. So when I say why is it important for the organization, the need of the business analyst in the real world will come into the picture. We will discuss about why do we actually need a business analyst? Why is this person being paid for, just telling something which most of the developers and QA do not think is necessary? And then what is the expectation from the business analyst? What do the world expect from business analysts? Why do they hire you or hire me for business analysis job? And what kind of advantage a project gains by adding a business analyst into the project team? And then finally, what are the requirements? When everybody talk about business analysts working on requirements, what are these requirements? Why do we need requirements? Do we really need requirements? And then how do we elicit requirements? In what are the different ways of finding the requirements or elicitation of requirements? When I say requirement elicitation, it is about planning for requirement gathering, documenting the requirement gathering, and also getting the job done of why you got the requirements. The main objectives of this meeting would be review of the scope of the business role, the BA role. What is the scope of the BA role is something, there is a lot of ambiguity on what is the business analyst role, where do they fit in. So let's discuss about it, the importance, and are we actually doing business analysis job in the real world? Because I hear a lot of people talking about, doing a QA job or a project manager's job or doing a team work of a team lead and sometimes running SQL queries, sometimes running reports. And there is a business analyst and there is also a person who works for business analytics. So people talk about the role would be same of a business analyst, but then there are people who work on requirements, they are also business analysts, and there are people who work on data for business analytics, for business intelligence. So those people would also be taken into consideration. So what is the analyst part of the BA title? What do they actually analyze? Just to give you a short story here, what happens in a real world scenario? When I say I have to build a software, my organization says they need a software. So when the organization says I need a software, then there would be a whole lot of people who would come in for a meeting. Who would come in for the meeting? The person who says that they need the software. That person is called as business owner. So this person say, I want the software to be built and at no cost. I want it to be free because there are all resources around there. So you can build it for free. So this person will raise funds for the project. So since when you are working at a client location, there is always a business owner who would tell you what is to be done and by when they would want it and how much funding would be given. So funding is not part of business analyst's job, but then they would always tell you by when they would want this to be done. And this person will give you the problem statement. This person will tell you, this is the problem I have and for which I'm looking for a solution. So the business owner will say, I want all of this, and then have it implemented.
A quick question. Why does he say I want it for free here? I mean, in the comment.
Okay. This person is the person who will sponsor the project.
Okay.
Okay. So this person would never be ready to pay money. So whatever you say that, this would incur cost, the movement will say, no, you have done something like this already, right? So why do I have to pay more for this? Or if you say that, you have to work on a different technology to get this job done, and then you have to procure a licenses, this business owner would say, why can't we do it in some other way? Why do we have to spend for that? So this person is like the person who would spend money, and that person would never be ready to give money.
Got it. Okay.
Okay? And then there comes the project manager. The project manager is the person who will manage the project, who will tell you who the resources would be, the timelines. The person will also discuss about how much funding, when the project should start, what phase it has to go in, what will, what are the different phases, when should the project go live. Everything would be decided by the project manager or the program manager. By the way, program manager is at a senior level person who would probably be handling multiple programs. And sometimes in product-based organization, a project manager is also called as a program manager, where they are developing a product, and each module can be considered into a program, and the person who manages that module will be called as a program manager. Okay, so this person will talk to the business owner and say that, we'll get this job done, we'll get this, and at the minimum possible cost. Here, when this says for free, it is actually not free. They would say that, we'll get this job done. And they are also like the sales people who would walk up to the client location and say that, we will get this done, and our product supports it all. They would have, most of the times, they would have made false promises, and sometimes they would not know all the details of the product, which will raise problems later on. This person will say everything is possible. So both these people will give their inputs to the business analyst. And then once they have that in picture, then we have the subject matter experts. When the project owner, when the business owner and the project manager gives the project to the business analyst or discusses the project into the business analyst, the first person business analyst would work to is the subject matter expert. Subject matter expert is the person who will know the business, or who's been in the domain for quite a while, or who is an expert in that domain. So this person would say what is the requirement, again to the business analyst. And at the same time, the subject matter will also give you inputs about what the world is working on, what the other people are doing, and then what is to be done for the project in the perspective of the organization they are working in. And then we have solution developers. They say, give us all the requirements, we'll get it done. But and then they would say, give us all that done, but then we have very little time and you'll have to wait for some time. But then there would be pressure from the business owner who would say, we will not give you money whenever they were asked for, and the project manager who would say, what happened to the schedule, where are the requirements, where are the test cases, or where are the user stories, where are they going in. And then we have subject matter experts who would be giving us inputs about the subject, or latest changes in the subject, what new things have come in, or sometimes would say that let's have this feature into the product, and if this is not there in the project, the federal government, it is as per the federal government laws, and if it is not there, project cannot be sold. It's something the subject matter experts will say. And then we have developers who would say, we really do not have time and we really do not understand what you're trying to tell to us. So the business analyst role is very crucial, where you have to talk to people coming from different mindsets, different backgrounds, and then put all your requirements together and make sure that everybody's requirements are catered to. So here when I'm talking about requirements catering, I'm talking about the sponsor who would say that I want everything. You would talk to the sponsor and say that this is what we can give you, this is how it will go. And then we can talk to the project manager and say, this is how the phases will be, this is how the requirements would be divided, and each scope of each requirement iteration would be so and so. And that is how the user stories will go into the picture. Then you go to the subject matter expert and you would always say that, this is all we can accommodate at this point of time, this is all that is there in scope. If things are not in scope, then you will again, if there is something which is not in scope and the subject matter expert suggests you that it is really critical for the project, business analyst will again have to go back to the project owner and also the project manager and say that, this is what the subject matter expert has to say, now suggest what to do. It is their call on to go ahead with that feature or not to go ahead with the feature. Business analyst will never take a decision if they would want to go ahead with the feature or not. That's because there are timelines involved, there are finances involved for which business analyst is not responsible for. So always make sure as a business analyst to consult the business owner or the project manager for anything related to new requirements or something which is going out of scope. So just to give you a little input, before a project starts, we always define the scope of the project. Unless we define the scope of the project, we cannot go ahead. Because if there is a scope leap, there is a timeline leap, there is a financial leap, there is a resource leap, there is a chain of things, events which are not acceptable in the industry. And then the solution developers who are always busy with their current project, they would always will come into the picture. So the questions which they raise, the things which they say, like why is this required? This is already there, or this feature can be used in some such a way, or if it's a small change, they would say this will take very long, or the database does not support you. There are a few columns which have to be developed, and the business analyst, since the person may or may not understand the database part of it, they may take you for a ride. So it's the responsibility of the business analyst to meet the project manager or the tech lead and check what is happening, why is it not happening, and if it is not happening, what best the business analyst can do to make it happen.